Better late than never. Welcome to a Monday edition of Shop Talk Live, and today I am going to design a banner live for you guys, and it's just something that I've been meaning to do. Been meaning to get around to designing a banner for the shop. Been busy, haven't had a chance to, so I thought it'd be cool just to go ahead and do it live, and you guys can ask questions while I'm getting into Illustrator, designing this banner. Hey, what's up, Bad Brad? What's going on? I hope you're doing well. I hope everybody had a great week, a great weekend for the fathers out there. Happy belated Father's Day. I hope it was a good one. I hope you got to spend it with family. So I'm going to design this banner. What's up, Ray? From Fresno, California. Awesome. What's up, Six Ghosts? Or excuse me. Yeah, Six Ghosts, right? Oscar, great to have you. Good to have you back. So I'm going to dive into Illustrator here soon, just as soon as we get some more of y'all tuning in, kind of following along. What program do y'all like to use to design stuff? Let me know in the chat. It'd be interesting to know whether it's Illustrator. I know that some of you out there enjoy using Corel, which you know my stance on Corel. What's up, Tommy? Hope you're doing well. Kyle Jess, ready for this? More information on Adobe Illustrator always works. Okay. Cool, man. Knockout Graphics, how you doing? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Illustrator, awesome. Adobe, but it sucks. You better watch your mouth. No, Adobe is great, man. What are you talking about? It's not that difficult. You got to get in there and just use the program. The more you use it, the more familiar you get with it. Use both. That's good. Knowing how to use both is always awesome, because then you can jump between formats. Which one do you prefer, though? Knockout Graphics. What format do you prefer? If, let's say, you're going into a program and you're going to design something, do you start out in Corel or Illustrator? But yeah, definitely knowing both. I mean, between the two, there's subtle differences. So, you know, if one's a little easier for you than the other, then great. If Corel Draw is your jam, that's totally cool. But I mean, as far as the industry goes, the standard tends to be Adobe. It used to be a little different. I'd say early 2000s, mid 2000s, there was some competition out there, but I mean, Adobe has just kind of seemed to dominate everything, and it's almost a little bit of a monopoly. If Corel wasn't out there, then I would definitely say that. So knock out Adobe. Okay, cool. I mean, yes, it's my go-to. And so as far as doing layout and all that, I tend to kind of go back and forth between Adobe Illustrator and InDesign, as I'm looking at the icons here. InDesign is great for if I have to do some sort of multiple page layout type stuff. Aside from that, I'll use Adobe. InDesign tends to eat up a lot less memory, just kind of displaying the photographs and everything. You can kind of change the resolution as to what it's showing, which is cool, because when you're doing, like, say for instance, the contract screen printing, catalog, pricing, all that stuff that I shared with y'all, I did all that in InDesign. Because if I were to try that in Illustrator, it would lock my computer down. Just way too many pages in Illustrator. But I'm going to give it just another moment longer. I'm going to give it about another 30 seconds or so. And then we'll switch over. I'm going to link my chat up with OBS over here, so that way I can go back and read y'all's questions, make it easier for me to define the chat as well. So I'm going to set that up real quick, and then I'm going to switch things over, and we'll get this party started. We'll get it going. But how was everybody's day today? Was everything go smooth? Lots of new business coming in, I hope. I hope you guys are starting to get slammed. If not, you know, what are you doing to kind of counteract that and bring some more business in? I'd be interested to know. You know, I'll tell you some of the things we've been doing. What's been going on around the shop. And just what's the dealio? But just give me a moment here. I'm going to link this up real quick. OBS, I swear, man, OBS is one of those programs that if you don't use it every day, I imagine it's kind of like that for those of you that don't use Illustrator every day. It's kind of fumbling around trying to figure things out. All right, cool. Got that all set up. And I am going to switch it over. Let's go ahead and roll that intro. Who's that guy? Who's that guy? Man, dude, who put that together? That's an awesome intro. I might have to go and update that. But welcome to Monday edition of Shop Talk Live. It's, you know, today's going to be a little different because I am going to go into Illustrator and design something live, more or less. I already have some designs and whatnot put together, not necessarily for this banner. I'm going to have to do a little bit of digging. It's been a while since I've kind of looked back. I gave Michelle a stab at it to design something, and it was, well, I'll show you. It wasn't bad, just kind of not what I was looking for. I didn't want her to waste too much time on it because there's been other things going on around the shop. And speaking of things going on around the shop, today's been a busy day. I had thought about actually screen printing on the automatic, a job that I need to get taken care of by tomorrow. It kind of put me in a good place. Because I have about 3 more jobs that I have to complete tomorrow. And I just kind of been going like crazy today, and I definitely need to get things organized out there because we have been picking up a lot of contract screen printing work, and went and bought some labels. Haven't even got close to going through and labeling things, and I don't know, maybe I'll post something on Instagram what it's kind of looking like out in the shop out there. But while I'm sitting here chatting, I'm going to just pull up the chat, see what you guys are talking about. And in the meantime, I'm kind of just going to search around my files and see what I got, because I know I do have a file set up already. I measured the dimensions of the upper portion of the shop, and it had been a while. Tommy, I apologize that this has taken so long. I know you've been wanting to do this for a while. If you're still up for it, I'll definitely give you a shout out. And I'm going to try and record me putting it up there and everything. But I'm trying to figure out whether or not I'm just going to do 1 sign or 2 signs. I kind of would like to do 2 signs. So let me know what you guys think over in the chat. If you're familiar with how the front of the shop looks, there's a big area above where the door's at, and then above the shop door, there's some real estate there that I can take advantage of. And when we first got this shop, I'd say that the front of the shop was, no other shop was decorated quite as nice. And then I kind of feel like we're being, not that we're being outdone, but people kind of stepped their game up. All thanks to a little shop known as Mikey Designs. And I know management appreciates it. So I'm going to go over and take a look at the chat, see what you guys think. Trying to figure out which one I like better, use both. Learn Adobe. Tom Mel, not good. I take it your day wasn't a good one. Hopefully things get better. Bad Brad, not a bad day. Well, that's good. Martin Jones, how you doing? Separation Studio 4 is requiring a yearly subscription to use all black ink. Is that right? To be honest, I am not sure, because the version, well, I do have 4, but I don't subscribe to their software. I was sent like a beta version years ago because they kind of wanted me to push their software, and I've just, it's quite buggy. I don't have access to any of the updates or anything like that, so mine doesn't rely on any kind of subscription or anything like that. Stefan E. Rich, I hope I didn't butcher that too much. Hello, first time I'm catching you live. Great content. Greetings from 2 a.m. Germany. Wow, all the way from Germany. That's awesome. I appreciate you tuning in. And 2 a.m., what are you doing up? If it's to catch the live segment of what we're doing here, then man, I really appreciate it. That's awesome. Tom L, big thumbs up. Anyone using Separation Studio 4 and the all black? Yeah, I'm personally not. No, took out old counter floor, needed to be redone, and server crash. Oh, man, one of the reasons I'm a little late with the shop talk, which, you know how it is, 7 o'clock, it's a little loose when it comes to, what's going on, Rye Beats? A little loose when it comes to what time I start, really, because I was ready to go. I'm ready to rock and roll, and then the computer just, I left it on all weekend, so it started throwing a little bit of a fit. Hope you're doing well, Rybeats. Ashley Nicole, you inspired me to start screen printing. Thanks for the content. Well, I appreciate that, and I'm glad to put the what information I can out there, and I'm going to really try and hammer out some more videos, because man, I don't know, it's been busy around here, which makes it harder to do videos, but I really enjoy doing them. I don't know, maybe I'll try vlogging every day and just capture what I can. It's kind of difficult. I'm good, bro, just trying to stay busy. We are doing, just starting to get slammed. Like, things are getting back to normal. Have even considered actually hiring someone else to come out, but they're kind of locking things down, and I got to be careful about bringing someone new in here at the moment, because here in Houston, Texas, Harris County, they made it a mandatory thing to wear masks. And I imagine you guys are probably already experiencing that. They kind of loosened the grip a little bit on it, and now they're seeing a rise with everything. So it's just crazy. But all right, so I feel like we're at a pretty good spot catching up with the chat. So I'm going to go over to my desktop view here, and I'm going to do this as long as I can, because this might take some time. It might not. I don't know. Sometimes it takes 30 minutes to do something. It might take me 2 or 3 hours, and I'm sure you guys have better things to do than sit here and watch me design something for 2 or 3 hours. So I'm going to go over to Illustrator real quick, and let's see what I got here. I know that Michelle started on something some time ago, and so I have to dig through these files here. So just give me a moment as I start to dig through some of these files. CMYK, transfer, Mikey Designs, catalog, shirts for the giggles, templates. There it goes. Mikey Designs outdoor sign. Let's see what we got here. It's a pretty big. Okay, so this is what Michelle started out with. She started getting after it, and I think it just didn't quite portray what I was looking for. But I do know that these are the correct dimensions as far as, you know, what size banner I'm designing around. If you're new to Illustrator, I'll kind of walk you through exactly what it is I'm doing, and this file is going to take a moment to open up because it is two size with some bleed. I'm not sure what the heck's going on here or why Michelle has it set up this way. But I think I'm going to kind of base it off of, I don't know, I might use this. I've already kind of had like some sort of banner set up that I had outside, and I kind of liked portraying the screen printing, you know, people wearing shirts. It's not the greatest photograph, but it's something I managed to get that was a little fitting. But this is what Michelle had came up with, and I just thought that it didn't really, even though these are designs that we came up with, well, a couple of these, we came up with these two. The top and bottom one is their designs from some of our clients. So I think I'm going to get rid of that. And I'm trying to see what she did here. All right, so one of the things that I'm noticing immediately, essentially a box that is, if you can see this black line here, that should be the size of the banner. And this isn't necessarily how I would set things up. So I'll show you how I would set things up. Your document size, you go to document setup up here, but I need to double check the dimensions. So we got visible size, which I imagine this is the size that I gave her. So 118 inches by 40 inches. That's one of the panels above the shop. Rather than make your document set up towards where you got all this white space around it, I would just make the document the size that whatever it is you're printing. If you're doing a business card or something like that, in this case a banner, I would just go ahead and make the document that size. So what did I say? 118 by 40. So I'm going to come over here to document setup at the top, 118 by 40, and that will kind of help reduce the size of this file a little bit as well. And I just hit enter on the keyboard. That cropped things down. Something I should have done while I was in there, I'm going to go back to document setup, and I'm going to put a bleed. Tommy, let me know what kind of bleed you normally need. I'm probably just going to put about an inch worth of bleed in there because that seems pretty reasonable, depending on who's printing your banners, your business card. Generally, for paper, that type of media, business cards, letterheads, envelopes, postcards, a 1/8 of an inch bleed is just fine. But because this is a larger format printing, 1/2 an inch to an inch will be fine. But I'm gonna just toss an inch in there just to give me enough room for bleed. So what that will do is it'll put this red line here as my computer catches up. It'll put this red line here, and it's That's your bleed. And what a bleed is you have your document. If you don't want a white line around your border, because when you print and cut things down, what happens is they do tend to shift a little bit. So you need a little bit of bleed to compensate for that, so there's no white border around anything. That's kind of bleed in a nutshell. So this here is kind of what I've been using as a standard just tagline. Also, just a kind of a bold, punchy look. As you guys know, we have the CMYK look going on, and I do have some of the effects turned off because I remember Michelle kind of going through this, and the file size just seemed really big. The computer seems slow, but I'm going to turn that on just for now. If I go to appearance here in my palettes, you can turn your effects on and off if it's kind of slowing things down a little bit. So if I turn the drop shadow on, you'll see it does slow things down a little bit, and that's because it's calculating all this at a pretty big scale. And there's subtle little things like this that you can do in order to make things just really pop out. Same thing here, we got a drop shadow. Turn that on real quick. Got a drop shadow on this box. Just kind of really helps it kind of jump off the background rather than bleeding in. And then I think I have one more, or maybe a couple more. I'm going to turn these back on so we can kind of design with it showing up and just kind of give us a overall. That way we can really just see what we got going on. I mean, it look a little plain without it. So here we are. It is going to slow things down a little bit. Again, a lot of this is our branding stuff. So I had Michelle kind of plunk it down, even if I know this doesn't quite seem like I'm starting from the beginning, but I mean this branding bar is something that is just part of what I created a long time ago for Mikey Design, CMYK. And this bar was just something I thought was really cool. And when it comes to branding things, be sure to keep things consistent. Don't continually change things, because that will throw off your clients and make it a little bit more difficult for people to identify with your brand. And this was something that I already had from, as I had mentioned, from a previous banner. And I think I am going to just go ahead and run with this, and I'm just going to scale it up. The picture up here, I did knock out the backgrounds, that way I could blur some of these things, and I'm going to come in here and blur some of these as well, so that way it's not such a hard break, and we can just kind of blend it into the custom t-shirts, embroidery, and promotional products. And I might expand this promotional products part out a little bit, just because I do know that ideally when you're designing something, like if I click on the font over here, I believe it's already converted to pass, but you don't, unless you don't have to, it's not a good idea to smash your fonts in. In other words, this font generally would look something like this. But because I didn't want it to be an additional line for promotional products, and it's not the biggest thing that's sold around here as far as services go and product, it's not the biggest thing. The t-shirts are, and I wanted that to be predominant. I think I'm going to just go ahead and make this a little bit larger, because I want people to see, hey, these guys make custom t-shirts as they're driving by. That's the primary thing. and then the importance of the other two. Embroidery is pretty important, but until we bring it in-house, which hopefully we'll do here in the near future, I'm hoping before the end of the year. But the custom shirts is the main thing right now. So I'm going to enlarge this a little bit more. And something you got to keep an eye out on is, so here's where my document ends. Am I cool with this dude's head getting chopped off a little bit? Does it look fine? So this is where things are going to crop down. And these are all just stock photographs. You can get photographs from iStock, Shutterfly, I believe it is. So these were some high resolution. These two here were these two pictures I took myself, embroidery and just screen printing samples that were around the shop. So I'm going to scale this up some more. I don't mind chopping this guy's head off a little bit. I don't want to get too crazy with it, but at the same time, I want to make it as big as I can. When you tend to work with a space that's horizontal like this, you have to get a little more creative with how you lay everything out. And say, for instance, this photograph here, I can go ahead and bring this in a little more and show off a little bit more of what's going on here, because these guys are making a deal, obviously, and they have some promotional products laying around on their desk or whatever the case may be. And it's all branded stuff, t-shirts, they have their business cards, pins, and all that jazz. So I'm going to start scaling this up, and then I'm going to scale my photos towards where they kind of fit the space a little bit. I'm okay with chopping off some of this dude's head here. Because really what's important is not his awesome haircut or his glasses. It's the fact that they're wearing screen printed shirts and it's somewhat of a community vibe. All right, I think space-wise, it's looking pretty good. One of the things I do want to do is perhaps blend this a little bit. And I think I want to find a space for the mikeydesigns.com, but maybe this is where the second banner will come into play. And with that, I'm not quite sure what I want to do with it. I thought about it maybe being like, watch us on YouTube or whatever, but I'm still trying to figure that out. And I feel like we can probably just get rid of that. I do know that this is scaled up a little bit, so I'm going to scale that down. Same thing here. And what you're looking at here, like say for instance, we have this photograph. I'm just going to, and all I'm doing is pressing A on the keyboard to get what's inside this. It's essentially a mask. So I'm going to paste that photo there. And all I did layout wise was I took a box, and let's say I wanted to crop this down right here. I just want people to see that. Just draw a box over the top of it. Select the both of them. And you can hit Control or Command 7. And I believe it's Object. And then, where's it at? I've been using the clipping mask. I've been using the keyboard shortcuts for so long that I forget where they're at. So Command 7, or if you just go to Edit, Mask, Make, it will bound it to this box. You can hold Option down and Control or Command if you're on a Macintosh, and hit 7, and it will release it from it. So what I'm doing is just, and you can scale it with inside that bounding box. So I'm just hitting A on the keyboard, which is this direct selection tool. That's what it's pulling up. And I'm just going to scale this down a little bit so that way it's showing some more of the embroidery. As you see there, it's just kind of approaching this edge. I wouldn't necessarily recommend designing something towards where you have stuff kind of like, say for instance, if I had this and it goes right up to the edge, that's just bad design in general. You either want to have some space in between your cut area or where things are going to be die cut, or you want to bleed it off, kind of like this dude's head is right here. And speaking of, so his head's kind of getting pretty close to the top there. And those are the type of things that I look out for, that design-wise, it kind of creates a focal point towards where it's like, okay, man, that's weird. His head's meeting the border of this particular layout, and it just doesn't make for good design, in my opinion. It's kind of what I've learned in school, and it's made sense and has worked for quite some time designing. So at this point, I'm going to just make these strokes here consistent. When you're designing something, you definitely want to be pretty picky about what it is you're doing. Make sure things are consistent. It'll look more professional. As you can see here, if I zoom in, I've got 3 different size strokes. I got a different stroke here than what's here. So I'm just going to make that consistent, make sure it's the same stroke throughout. And if I go over to my stroke palette, looks like we're working with a 13.9. So let's just go ahead and make that 14. We'll come over to this stroke as well, make it 14. And I'm going to go over to the other side and make that a 14 as well. And I'm going to take these little points here because it doesn't, there's no point in not cleaning this up and bringing it up to your bleed line. You don't want to have too much kind of like bleeding off. It just kind of makes it look messy. Especially if someone else is going to kind of pick up where you left off. You want it to be easy for that person to get in there and work with it and not have to kind of clean up some of the things that should be done as good pre-press graphic design. So I'm going to pull this out to the edge as well. And you can see here there's a little bit of a stroke. I'm not quite sure why this is just kind of looking odd. I'm going to hit Command Y, and that will bring up my outline view. So what I'm going to do in order to kind of correct that a little bit is, and now in this case here, where we have some of this, if I move this down too much, like I can pull it down and I'm still working with a little bit of a bleed. If I go to my edge and draw a box here, it looks like I'm working with about 1/8 of an inch. I can probably increase that a little bit. Let me see how big this picture is. So I just hit A on the keyboard. I'm going to scale it down. See if I can't get a little bit more out of it. And perhaps maybe the handshake. I want to get that in there a little bit more because that's pretty important. They're making business deals. They're making business moves over here. Making money moves. And it's a little odd that it has this, and it might just be that the picture needs to be cropped down. It's got a little bit of a white line down here, but we are past our die area. I think that will be plenty fine. Now I'm going to take one of these lines here. I'm just going to double click on my group. I'm going to copy it, and I am going to paste that. I'm going to hit Command F, which will paste things in front. And just to make things consistent, I'm going to just put that right on top of everything else. And I'm just going to drag that path down all the way to the bottom. So now we got a nice consistent line here. Looks intentional. Looks like we meant to do it. And I think what I'm going to do now at this point, I'm either going to try and squeeze this under the phone number, but I don't think I want to do that because I want the phone number to be nice and big. I could probably make the phone number a little bit bigger. Again, you don't want to kind of overcrowd things too much. The custom t-shirts, embroidery. So the custom t-shirts and then the phone numbers is pretty important. But we also kind of want to give everything a little bit of space to breathe, a little bit of space to live. You don't want it to just every single little inch of this thing to be filled up, even though it kind of is in a sense, but I mean, we still got some space here. We have some things separating these, so that way it makes sense. And I think I'm pretty happy with that. I would like to incorporate the logo. Even though we have a logo on our front door, I would like to incorporate that in there somewhere. But I think I'll put that on the other banner. So this one will probably be off to the right hand side, and then we'll have this stuff here over to the left hand side. So I'm going to save this, and something you should do is save often. I didn't hit save just yet because I knew I wasn't going to have to make too many moves to get it where I want it to be. So I'm just going to call this, I'm just going to hit revise on it, or maybe option 2 or something like that. And I'm just going to save that. And we'll give it a moment to save. I hope you guys are holding up okay over here. I'm going to go over to the chat real quick and see if any of you guys have any questions, if I can find the damn chat. There we are. Nailed it. All right, let me pull up the chat. Let's see, Kyle Reese, nope, working, and have you on the other monitor. That's awesome. I appreciate it. Kyle Jess, sorry I said Kyle Reese, just immediately I think when I saw those two names together, I'm like, Terminator, man. Let's see, Martin Jones, Rye. What's up, Bagware? How you doing? Good to have you. How's that press coming along? Hopefully you get that going here soon. Mo, what's going on, man? I'm gonna give you a call tomorrow, brother, because I need to chat with you about some of the things we have working together. And today was just a busy day, so all right. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna go ahead and press on. So let me pull up the desktop view again, and then I'm just going to continue get my design on, if I can figure out where it's at. There we go. So I'm going to hit OK. One of the things I do want to do is I do want to blur the edge of this thing a little bit over here. One of the ways you can do that is with a gradient and just kind of like a quick mask. And as soon as this thing's finished saving, I will show you what I'm talking about. And I don't know. I think this banner looks pretty good. I'm trying to think of what I could put on the other side aside from my huge mug and watch this on YouTube kind of thing, which I think if people watch this on YouTube, they get an idea of what we're all about around here. So I'm gonna have to think about that while this is saving. I'm not sure I'm gonna have time within this 1 hour limit. And I know I said I wasn't going to limit it, but I literally, after this, I gotta go out in the shop and print another job. I've got a about 4 jobs due tomorrow. Yeah, this is going to take a bit, so I think I'll probably just um, go with this one for now. I'll send it over to Tommy. Man, I appreciate it, Tommy. I know you've been trying to do a banner for us for a while. I might do something for the other side. I think I'm going to have to think about that a little more. What's kind of important? I mean, the focus of the business is screen printing. It's not necessarily the YouTube channel. It's kind of a little. People around here, they have no idea. We have a YouTube channel or who we are. All right, so I'm good with that. I think it's great. Down the line, I might change my mind, but it looks clean. It looks professional. Who knows? Maybe the other flip side of the sign could be a bunch of services that we do offer, because there's a shop across from us that has a pretty dope looking setup. So I think I'm going to end it there, and then I'm going to go over to the chat and see if any of you guys if you have any questions. Let me go back to the chat portion. See if y'all have any questions, or if you just want to say hello. Just chat for a sec, and then I got to get back at it. I got to get back at it because things are. I'll have to post a picture on Instagram. Like, it's just, I'm outgrowing my shop over here. I'm just outgrowing it, and it's unfortunate that with all the COVID stuff that's going on, it makes things a little uncertain to pull the trigger on things like that. And I plan on getting some other equipment here in the shop because I'd like to bring some stuff in-house. But we'll see what this year brings. I mean, thus far, it looks like things are growing even more. Have even considered getting some extra help, but things are going well. What is the best vinyl cutter? Bagware, we have the same one, and it is, man, that thing is smart, easy to use. So the CE 6060 Plus, it's a great plotter. I've done many vehicles, door fronts, t-shirts, stickers, all kinds of stuff with it. And I definitely would recommend it. And Bagware's saying she recommends it as well. All right, well, it looks like a little bit of a quiet Monday today. And who knows, maybe it's because people didn't want to sit here and watch me design something. I had thought about doing screen printing some stuff live, but I kind of needed to get off my feet for a little bit and design something. At least get that out the way, so that way I know Tommy's been waiting on it forever, and who knows, maybe it'll be a part 2 of me diving into doing the second side. But before I get back at it, I definitely need to get something to eat. Been up here all day long. Man, we just been jamming along, and things are great. Just rocking and rolling, and I'm happy things are getting out of where it kind of was these past couple months. So, well, gang, I am going to get out of here. It's been a lot of fun as usual. It's great, always great talking to y'all. I will be back on next Monday. Perhaps I'll do something that is me screen printing live, because there's a lot that I need to catch up with, and you guys tend to really enjoy the live screen printing, or perhaps I might just do something Friday, because Friday always seems to be a pretty good time for everybody to tune in. They're off, they're able to tune in and ask some questions and interact, and I'll try my best to get something up. Sometimes we're working those long days, and it gets just at the end of the day, I'm kind of ready to just relax a little bit. However, I'm going to get back at it. I got some I got a job I got to print. I hope y'all have a great week, and we'll see you next Monday at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time for the Shop Talk Live segment. And just keep an eye out. Keep your notifications on. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed just yet. And you never know when we'll pop up doing something, and just really showing what's going on around the shop, just kind of in real time. So y'all be sure to subscribe if you haven't. Check out some of our other videos. If you have any suggestions, let me know down in the comments as well, because suggestions are always great. I can't necessarily say that we're going to get to all of them, but I mean, y'all have some great ideas, and I appreciate the feedback. If you could leave a little feedback, we'll see you guys next Monday, 7 p.m. Y'all enjoy y'all's week. And Apollo says, peace out. He's over there doing his thing. But we'll see you guys next Monday.